Hello, this is David. Now, carriage jams. Let's have a wee blather about a carriage jam. Now, let's knit a row of stitches. Now, as we go across, the needles are moved in formation. Let's do it again. So we just zoom in a bit. Now, the needles coming out this way come forward, and then on this side of the carriage we see them going back. The most common cause of a carriage jam is actually just going across too quickly and bouncing needles out of position. The second most common cause is not enough weight on the knitting. Now, this wee cast on hem on its own isn't heavy enough, so I've got these two claw weights hanging on it to give it a bit more oomph. Another one that can cause a carriage jam is the wrong key plate. Now, this is key plate number 2. Now, imagine if this was quite thick and chunky wool and I was using key plate 2. It would be really difficult to push the carriage across because it was knitting the stitches too tight, and that can also cause a carriage jam. So let's come in a wee bit closer. And I want you to be able to see the carriage, so I'm going to lift you up a bit, and I'm going to point you slightly down. Now let's fake one. So we're knitting happily across the row, and bang, it will not go any further, it won't move. You haven't seen that, it's not there. So let's pretend it's absolutely stuck. Now, the first thing you can do is pull down a bit on the knitting. Whatever you do, don't go back, because you'll just unthread the stitches and drop them. What I do, if this ever happens to me, is I lift up the handle, take out the key plate, and slide the empty carriage right back past the first row, pop the key plate back in, close the handle. Now we find the last stitch that worked, and it's this one. So we go all the ones before we put those into hold, and all the next ones we put these into forward working position, and check we've got all these latches open. Every needle that's not in working position, make sure its little latch is open and push them back to forward working position. This is another good reason why we showed you how to push the needles back without a yellow card. Now we need to get the yarn over these ones that have knitted. Just check that right out in hold and the yarn is on top of them, and then we're going to knit across the row again, finishing it off. Now, these needles that we pushed into holding position, push them back to forward working position, knit back your next row, and we're back in business. So when you're doing your knitting, first of all check that you've got the correct key plate for your yarn. Now, if the carriage consistently jams in the same place repeatedly, it's obviously a machine problem. It could be a bent needle or a sticky latch. You'll have to examine these, or it could be the bed rails. Make sure these are all smooth and flat. If you've got a wonky needle, you'll have to swap it. Now you could take one of your end ones out, or you could try and get some more on eBay. But other than that, just knit nicely. Don't push the carriage too quickly. And make sure you've got enough weight on it. Now, I hope that's of some help. Thank you for watching.